Hello, welcome back. Day two or episode two. I thought we'd start off with a wonderful topic about bullying. I know it might be strange for an adult to talk about bullying, especially one who is nearing 40. It might sound childish, it might sound weak minded, it might sound like crazy, but that's what I'm going for. I think I'm going to talk about it because I feel like we need to talk about it. I think a lot of us go through our lives hiding this fact about bullying, coercion, and many other forms of oppression. And I'm not here to give a scientific pros and cons on why bullying works or doesn't work. Clearly, the answer is out there. Please find your research. It is clear that it doesn't work, and any attempt to justify it is just very sad. So here I'm not talking about the science. I'm not talking about the history. I'm not talking about any other aspect. I am just talking about what bullying meant for me and how it transpired in my life and how I am working with it right now. So this might be tricky. So just being careful, just being sensitive on who's listening to this. And I'm invite everyone to be able to listen to it. But if there are some sensitive topics which you feel uncomfortable, please ensure you are regulated, to ready to participate. So yeah, just being good minded, just being taking care of yourself before you take care of others. So what is bullying? I have no answer what bullying is. First experience of bullying consciously, I would think, was probably in school, especially in a boarding school which I went to. It was interesting at that time because that was what everyone was kind of doing. And I felt like I needed to be part of it, either being the oppressor or being the one who's oppressed. And I felt that was the only way to engage with my peers. And being ostracized from your tribe, as you all know, is one of the surefire ways to be left out in the desert, for a manner of speaking. Because in the ancient days, if we got left out in our tribes, we are doomed not to pass on our genetic material. So it was kind of important for us to conform to this tribe. And in school, the tribe, especially in a boarding school where your sense of comfort is kind of questioned, you kind of only get a blanket for comfort. You're living in your own space. You don't have any adults caring for you, comforting you. It's kind of a social isolation, yet you try to understand the dynamics of the people around you. You start to form bonds, some interesting bonds, some downright depressing bonds. So you start to cultivate, form really unhelpful habits to cope with trauma or the real discomfort of going to boarding school. I understand why the boarding schools are a very attractive proposition. It gives the image that everything is fine and it's a wonderful place where people explore their passions and grow and have time to grow. One key element which was missing, and I think which was highlighted in a lot of studies, uh, is being in psychological safety. So my first experience in boarding school around the age of 13, I get beaten by a hockey stick. I just think of nothing because the other boys in my boarding school are also getting hit. And it was kind of interesting that I started to develop an attachment to people who were treated badly. I kind of felt like they had something good about them which warranted the beatings, especially from the senior students. It was interesting because I wanted the beatings, because more and more I was thinking about it when I was in that young growing phase is, oh, if everyone else is getting it, if I'm not getting it, I am being mistreated, or I might not be part of this wonderful group. So I wanted the hockey stick beatings and I got them. And the only way to hide my pain was to not show that I could cry or I could feel the pain, or any of those things were kind of frowned upon because you were not a man at the age of 13. Now, this is fascinating because at this time when I'm growing, kind of thought about it as like the things you need to do before you become an adult, and I felt like it was a badge of honor to be able to be hit by hockey sticks, slapped in your face, uh, run around like a robot, asking people to do the odd jobs, cleaning dirty toilets with your bare hands, doing impressive bog press ups, which is interesting. All at the tender age of 13. So this is a picture I just wanted to paint. These were things which were happening in my childhood, and when it comes to think about it, it's not something which anyone talks about, or I certainly didn't talk about it until I was around 30, 35. And even then, I don't speak about it often because I thought this was in the past. It doesn't need to be talked about. It doesn't have any impact on me because I've now grown up to be an adult and I'm living life. But I think it still has an impact. Actually, I take that back. I know it has an impact on me right now. So those early phases, even though it was kind of a way in which I was expressing my frustrations, my anger, my emotions, all were repressed, all were hidden from view, all were not expressed. And I think that kind of manifests nowadays when I am actually sometimes not able to express the emotions accurately. So whenever I feel sad, I don't show sadness. Whenever I'm happy, I don't show happiness. Whenever I am angry, frustrated, I hide it or I try my best to cover it up. And that has had a significant impact in my life. So, first thing, I just wanted to share that story. I don't know how many people will resonate in similar situations. I know there are a lot of my fellow students who were there at the same time would have experienced this as well. So I know there are so many people who might want to share those stories, but it's not particularly about the story and the abuse. It is more about how it transformed my relationship with feeling my own emotions. We can always talk about the bullying aspect of it on a separate podcast, but this is more about how I was coming to awareness of the things which has been holding me back for my lifetime. So one of the things is expressing my emotions. I always feel the need to have a neutral, balanced, kind of a stoic, that word also gets thrown about a lot, stoic approach. Uh, and this kind of comes back to the whole way of living. Some people find it very amazing that you are able to handle these emotions. At what cost? And that's what the cost for me has been. Maybe 20 years of my life of not actually living those emotions, not actually feeling the joy of happiness or the real sorrow of sadness or real heartbreak or even a good movie, for example. So it is interesting for me to acknowledge this in this podcast because this is me, my self help, and where I explore how it is that we can change that narrative into something which we want to positively affect our future. So, this is the place where I think it's a reflection time. It's a reflection. Think about the time where you have not experienced or expressed your feelings or emotions fully. And if you are in doubt on how that is, just notice the times where you are feeling angry, frustrated, or bored. Those are the times you can actually notice this feeling. You were usually when you're joyful, when you're happy, we kind of go with it, and then it becomes a part of your feeling and you start to chase it. That's another episode where we end up chasing whatever we want and then we getting it and then not being fulfilled. But when it comes to feelings, are your feelings repressed? Are your feelings okay? Are your emotions accurately expressing themselves? Are they being stopped? Are they being curtailed because of any of the issues or abuse you have got in the past? Just a reflection. That is the episode today. Just reflect on your past, not in the sense of being mad at your past. Your past is your past, it's done. So there's nothing you can do about it. As cliche as it sounds, it is the truth. So you can learn from the past. You can see why the past has been so, and you can actually actively advocate for anyone else not go through the same thing. So if there are anyone who's getting bullied or you know of, you think might be getting bullied, please do not stay silent. Talk about it. Get it out in the open, so that no one else suffers this bullying. So the bullying comes back in circle, and I think even in the adult phase of my life, because I was so used to this kind of dynamics, it's in the young age. It is very interesting, the dynamics in my adult phase, where I start to subconsciously crave some sort of abuse, not in a physical, harmful way. It is just that I have been so trained in my mind that I need some sort of an oppression or suppression of my emotions to be able to function. So just noticing these patterns. These are like eye-opening for me. Once I realized it, worked with my therapist to understand this, it was game changer. And I think we will be talking about a lot of game changers in these series. So yeah, thank you for listening. My name is Nikhil. You can find me online everywhere. Please like, follow, and hopefully enjoy and share and learn. And please, just do this for yourself, because you don't know how your future is going to turn out. And we can do it together if we can spread this positive message that your past doesn't have to define you. You can create your future. So hopefully you can do that for me, and hopefully you can share your story with me as well. Looking forward to hearing from you. This is Nikhil signing off. Take care.